All right, folks, it's a Black and Gold Daily Blitz. I'm Tito, Jeff Thitoff, your host. Follow me on the X at It Happens, where you can find me there. Lots to talk about today. Also, go to fantasysports.com, powered by Fantasy Sports DSC Media. That's where you can find all of our shows. Download the app. That's even easier. Free for Android and Apple users. Fantasy Sports app, go check that out. Fantasy Sports Facebook group, go there as well. Interact with hosts and other fans of shows. All right, Steelers host the Packers on Sunday. Really big week for the AFC North. A big weekend, I should say, because 7-2 Baltimore hosts Cleveland, who's 5-3, and 5-3 Cincinnati hosts Houston. Steelers also 5-3. Right now, as we sit today, all four AFC North teams would be in the playoffs. Now we know it's not going to happen. All four are not going to get into the playoffs. Steelers had some time off since their Week 9 victory on that Thursday when they knocked off the Titans, and a couple things came out of that game. First of all, George Pickens. He after that game was upset for his, I think he had 2 catches for -1 yard, and he did something like save me or free me, some kind of thing he put out there, wiped all the Steelers stuff off the social media. And we've seen players in Pittsburgh do this before with famously, Antonio Brown, as far as behavior getting pissed off in Pittsburgh, and so we saw it there. And so it's not, Tomlin knows how to deal with these things, I believe. And we saw it also with Le'Veon Bell when he did the same thing, where he was kind of wanted to force his way out, wanted to get a contract, all these things. So anyway, Pickens then kind of walked it back, and in my opinion, it probably forcefully walked it back, but he walked it back after that, downplayed it all. There are reports that Deontay Johnson and Najee Harris talked to him. I'm sure Tomlin got involved as well and just said, look, this is not how we do things. And this is not the Steeler way really is what it is. And especially, look, the Steelers know when to cut bait with someone when they're not worth the drama. They knew. Look, when the Le'Veon Bell stuff happened, the Steelers stood firm where they were at, and it worked out. Le'Veon Bell was never the same after that. They got rid of him. They cut ties with him at the right time. Antonio Brown, same way. He got even crazier. He had a couple of good moments here and there, no doubt about it, but he was not the same Antonio Brown. He was not worth the headache. I got to believe the Steelers believe George Pickens is worth the headache, at least worth the mistake. Give him a chance to right it. So, foolish comments by a second-year receiver to make, a second-year player to make, and he did seem to walk it back, though, and try to brush it under the rug as much as he could. Nonetheless, it did happen. And so it looks like I don't say he's going to pass on this, but they are not going to treat him or not going to out him right now out of the franchise, and rightfully so, I think. On the plus side, though, from that game, going forward, Broderick Jones and Joey Porter Jr. are getting better and better as the season goes on. The improvement of the running game against Tennessee, a lot of it had to do with Broderick being in there. They rushed for 166 yards, averaged 5.5 yards a carry against Tennessee. The week before against Jacksonville, just 70 yards rushing. And against the Rams before that, when they won, 135 rushings, 4.4 yards per carry. So they've won. Those are wins right there when they rush the ball well. That's the key to all this. It seems like that's what the Steelers are going to have to do. They're going to need to rely on Broderick and the rest of the offensive line to open up holes for Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren and give some time to Kenny Pickett. Has been great still. It seems like the Steelers are getting outgained every single game this year, yet somehow they're still 5-3. This is fool's gold for sure to be 5-3 right now, but nonetheless, they are 5-3. They've got to establish the run. And that's where that's where a lot of Steelers games are going to be run the rest of this year. They're going to be won in the trenches with the old-time AFC Central way for Pittsburgh. They're going to win it in the trenches. They're not going to win it with a bunch of big plays. They're going to win it by running the ball well, stopping the ball, and putting pressure on the opposing quarterback. The key to beating the Packers is get out in front early. That's what it's going to be. Control the ball. Control Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. Aaron Jones had a season-high 20 carries last week. He only had 9 carries, was the most he had in a game before that this season. So he did not practice much this week. They gave him a lot of time off. The Packers did limited practices all week long. He's going to play. They're going to count on him and A.J. Dillon to carry the load there. But if you can force them to throw the ball, that's going to be the key. Get in front of Green Bay early. Force them to throw the ball. The Packers don't know yet if Jordan Love is the long-term answer at quarterback. He's been very inconsistent. Too many interceptions. They get behind early and they have a hard time coming back, and that's going to be the key to this game for the Steelers to knock off Green Bay. The Packers had a couple injuries, an injury in the defensive backfield. Also, Pro Bowl defensive tackle Kenny Clark still battling back. So If they continue to have the injury there, and if they're depleted on the defensive side of the ball, it certainly helps out Pittsburgh. It's still going to be a situation where it's going to be one again on the offensive and defensive line. The Steelers have to, and boldface, underline, have to win this game against Green Bay in Pittsburgh on Sunday. The next two games are road games against Cleveland and Cincinnati. So they're at Cleveland, at Cincinnati after this. Then they have an easier stretch where they host Arizona, New England, and they play at Indy. Those are all very winnable games. And before they close with Cincinnati in Pittsburgh, at Seattle, at Baltimore. Cincinnati, Seattle, Baltimore, all going to be playoff teams, it looks like. I'd be shocked if they weren't. So the at Cleveland game next week is going to be significant, but a loss in this one would be devastating to them, I believe, because I think that I look at their record right now. I think they're going to be a 9-8 or a 10-17. To be a 10-17, they're going to have to steal one somewhere among those tough ones I said. And it might be at Cleveland next week. That might be the one to steal, or hosting Cincinnati. At Seattle, at Baltimore are going to be really tough. So it's going to be interesting finish there in the AFC North. And we have so many games to keep an eye on this week when it comes to the AFC North. That Baltimore-Cleveland game with Deshaun Watson out there, that's going to be pivotal because, it's very possible that, the Browns lose that game, they fall to 5-4. Steelers going to win, they go to 6-3. Cincinnati hosting Houston. Cincinnati could be without Jamar Chase. They're definitely without T. Higgins. Could be without Jamar Chase as well. That could be interesting to see how that game plays out. As far as injuries for the Steelers, Minka Fitzpatrick doesn't look like he's going to play. We'll keep an eye on that one. Pat Freiermuth is close to returning, not ready yet. Could be back though next week. Cam Hayward, he had a groin issue, but it looks like he's going to play. That's significant because, like I said, they've got to put pressure on Green Bay and make it uncomfortable for Jordan Love in that Packers offense. Packers are going to come out. They're going to try to. Everyone knows they're going to try to run the ball with Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon, establish something that way. Steelers are going to do the same thing. They're going to try to come out and establish the run with Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren. It's going to be old style, like 70s football if you watch it out there with the Steelers-Packers game with a couple of historic franchises. So we'll keep an eye on all that, see what happens there with that Steelers game, and get ready for next week's game against Cleveland. But follow me on the X. I'm at It Happens. Make sure you go to FanStreamSports.com, the FanStream Sports app. Check it out. My prediction, I've got Steelers winning at 17-13. Take care.